Phoenix, 1975. 18-year-old recent high school graduate Patricia Silva applied for a job at Maximilian's Mexican restaurant. 2 years later, things couldn't have been going any better. She was making good money as a waitress at Maximilian's. She had a daughter, and she was engaged to be married to a bartender at the restaurant, Arnolfo Regalado. On September 7th, 1977, they both got off work at 10:30 p.m., and they would go back to Arnolfo's place in Patricia's Volkswagen Beetle. There they spent a few hours together, unwinding, talking about the wedding, and having some dinner. Around 1:15 in the morning, Patricia said goodbye to Arnolfo and headed home. A few minutes later, she was heading north on 35th Avenue, and she began to approach McDowell Road. As she continued at 45 miles per hour and got closer to the light, it changed from green to yellow, then to red. Sitting in a giant tanker behind two cars heading east at the intersection of McDowell and 35th Avenue was 57-year-old John Noble of North Hollywood, California. As the light changed to green, the two cars ahead of John would take off and he would begin to follow them. As he did, Patricia, with a red light, and for reasons unknown, continued into the intersection. As she crossed the intersection, she slammed into the passenger side of the tanker truck, which was carrying 6,800 gallons of oil. Upon impact, an enormous explosion engulfed the Beetle and the tanker that rippled like an ocean wave of fire. The Beetle was caught under the tanker, and it was being dragged as more eruptions would follow, lighting up the sky like a thunderbolt of fire. John, caught in a heat wave, struggling to see through the windshield after the momentous flashes, desperately tried to steer the tanker as it was sliding on its own diesel fuel that poured from it and headed directly into the path of the corner Jack in the Box restaurant. In the seconds that seemed like days, battling thunderous detonations that continued to erupt like a volcano, the tanker continued onto the sidewalk. John, trying desperately, using all the energy he had to steer it away from the restaurant, almost willing it to turn, as he was able to guide it away from the restaurant and back onto the sidewalk and into the street, where it would fall on its side. With fire underneath and coming out on top, realizing he had but seconds to live or die, John managed to climb out the driver's side window, dodging flames in the process, and as he got down, he was greeted by David Whitson, who had just ran over and grabbed him and yelled at him to get the hell out of there. Whitson had been a block behind Patricia and saw the entire accident as it unfolded. They would run to safety, and the fire department would show up. 50 firefighters and 16 pieces of equipment were used to fight the inferno. And once the foam truck showed up, the entire fire was put out in 12 minutes. One witness described the scene, saying it looked like a plane hit the roadway, as there were flames all over, including in the trees. David Whitson would be credited with helping get John Noble to safety, and Noble was credited with saving the lives of 10 people who were in the Jack in the Box restaurant at the time of the accident. He received minor injuries. Patricia Silva was 20 years old at the time of her death. Her boss, Dick Jackson, described her as sweet, an easy person to like, and someone that everybody loved. She was survived by her daughter Monique, her parents, a sister, 2 brothers, and her fiancé, Arnolfo Regalado. Patricia Ann Silva is buried at the Glendale Memorial Park Cemetery in Glendale, Arizona. Her fiancé at the time, Arnolfo Regalado, would find love again, marrying 2 years later in 1979. And here is the location, as it appears today, where the accident took place on McDowell Road and 35th Avenue. And incredibly, the Jack in the Box is still there on the southeast corner of McDowell Road and 35th Avenue. where one night in 1977, this area lit up like an inferno, and a young woman with a promising future lost her life.